Hi, I'm in Brazil. I thought I'd continue talking a bit about how we use the step-up concept to combine data in a data supply chain, a consolidated data supply chain. We talked in a prior video about not all the data is applicable for every vision. Each one has its own different aspects that are required for it, so not all the balances are shared across every vision. But when we get to the center of the Venn diagram, how do we manage those things where some portion of the balance is shared? And how do we know what portion is shared and what portion is not? The step-up concept is something that would allow us to manage that. We use step-ups already in financial systems. We've been doing this for a very long time. One that is more common nowadays is that we have to use International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS, as a basis for many international companies. They use IFRS as the base GAAP that is booked everywhere around the world in the financial system. Then from IFRS, the difference for a local GAAP is posted as an adjustment, a difference off of that base GAAP. So if the local GAAP differs from the standards required internationally by minus $1, for example, we might have $10 in the IFRS bucket and have minus $1 in the local GAAP bucket. Now when we want to see the local GAAP, we can't just select local GAAP rows. All we'd see there is minus 1. What we do is we select IFRS plus local GAAP. And those two get added together. Once they get added together, it becomes a single row that shows us the local GAAP value of 9. This same kind of concept could be used when we talk about going from, in other perspectives, a way that we could use an instrument ledger. We could begin with customer as the first GAAP, the first basis for the step-up process. Those customer balances would be things that we agree with the customer, and we're going to show to the customer, and we agree that these are the balances for that customer. This sort of data might be something that would be used in a blockchain or a distributed ledger. When we take from there, we're going to have the accounting view is going to be a delta off of the accounting, off of the customer view, because we won't show the customer the accounting view. They won't even know about some aspects of that. Why would we show them to them? So accounting, both our IFRS perspective and our local GAAP perspective, could be deltas we take off of that. We could add to that management reporting. If there's aspects of management reporting that affect how we store and look at a balance, and we start to select these things based upon selection criteria. An example here might be if we think about a risk perspective. In finance, we do loan loss reserves. They're estimates of what we will lose on a loan. We also do these kind of estimates for inventory shrinkage, for return policies. In all sorts of cases do we do these kinds of estimates. From the risk perspective, we can get more specific about what the loan losses might be or what the customer returns might be, because now we start to understand customers much more specifically. But they don't match the GAAP requirements. They're step-ups beyond the GAAP. So what you could consider doing is you have the customer perspective, you have the finance perspective, and then on top of that, you would make the risk perspective a delta, a step-up off of the finance perspective. That would be one way of managing this. Now what this adds is a bit of complexity in that both the finance and risk perspectives have to be understood together very carefully. Another way of handling this with step-up concepts would be to make them independent of each other. That the risk perspective is not dependent upon the finance perspective. It's completely its own set of balances stepped up off of the customer data. If there's anything that's shared between risk and finance, that would require a reconciliation for these step-up balances. But in some instances, it may make the process more approachable. You could do this with, there are various ways that you could manage even doing both combinations for some sets of balances in an instrument ledger that are combined and additive in other ways that the perspectives are independent. So that's the way that step-ups would allow us within an instrument ledger to eliminate reconciliation and to build a more effective quantitative engine.